What's going on, everyone? So, Jaren Jackson Jr. might have just became an option for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, look, this is just pure conversation on my end, pure speculation on my end, but it's something that I would genuinely keep an eye on, and don't be surprised if there's reports or news that ends up coming out about this, right? Again, nothing at this time. This is just my thoughts because of a couple factors, right? One, Memphis is already the words going around of like, hey, they might tear this thing down. They might look to trade a couple guys, kind of hit the reset button a little bit. There's already rumors about Ja Morant and Triple J potentially being traded and stuff. But the biggest reason why I think that Jaren Jackson Jr. might end up being an option for the Lakers is because he no longer qualifies for the Supermax. So he does not get the big bag. And he is going into a contract year now, and which means that he can get the same amount of money anywhere, right? That was the one kind of thing that was like, okay, Memphis, they're not going to lose Jaren Jackson Jr. because, he's not going to turn down an extra like $90 million or whatever it would be that he would get, right? Like there's no way he's turning that down. So he's sticking around. He's going to get that bag. And then if Memphis wants to trade him or whatever, then they could end up trading him, right? But if you're Memphis, you no longer have that nest egg in your pocket. You no longer have that edge and advantage that you would against some of these other teams. So don't be shocked if Jaren Jackson Jr. ends up becoming available, right? And teams end up trying to go and acquire him. But two, he is incredibly tradable for the Lakers. I don't know about asset-wise, right? Like, what is his market? But he's only going to make $23.4 million next year. His contract year is $23.4 million. That is very tradable. Lakers could easily trade Austin Reeves and whatever. Hey, pick who else you want, right? Austin Reeves and Maxi Kleber. Right? So you have a floor spreading big just to kind of get you through for the season, right? And then give up a first and 2 pick swaps, whatever. Right? Like that could be, Dalton, you want Dalton Connect? Here's Dalton Connect, right? Like that could be a serious option for the Lakers, right? Because the Lakers could then go pay him. And then now you have Jaren Jackson and you have Luka Doncic, who neither are going to be qualified for a Supermax, by the way. So neither guy is going to be making 60 plus million. So LeBron will be your highest paid player for the next, couple years till he retires. And then you'll have flexibility that other teams just won't have because other teams usually have a Supermax guy. So you'd have 2 guys that aren't going to qualify for the Supermax. Right? So that would put the Lakers in excellent position. Right? On top of that, if the Lakers can realistically get him, then I think that they should. Right? I mean, you're talking about a guy, he's 25, he'll be 26 in September. Right? So he's right on par with Luka. He's a guy that he's not a number one. There's even arguments like depending on who your number 2 is, right? Because like obviously him and Ja haven't been able to win a championship, right? But him and Ja were able to be one of the top teams in the Western Conference not that long ago, right? And Luka's better than Ja, right? So Jaren Jackson as like your number 2 alongside Luka, that could be something, especially as Jaren Jackson continues to grow and develop and his versatility. Also, he's a guy that you can slot in at the 4. So like right now, you could play him at the 5 alongside LeBron James. And then when LeBron James rides off in the sunset, he retires. If you want to, you could just slide Jaren Jackson right on over to the 4 and then go get another center, right? And just now you have the 2 bigs and you have Jaren Jackson who could be your power forward. Also, you got to keep in mind, Jaren Jackson will be cheaper next year than Nick Claxton would be, right? Like, so again, if you could get Jaren Jackson, obviously it'd be the players that you'd have to give up. But here's another big thing, right? If the Lakers were to trade Austin Reeves, the problem with trading Austin Reeves is you're not going to get the player and value necessary that makes sense, right? Because Austin Reeves isn't making enough money. Right? But Jaren Jackson Jr., you're not going to be able to swap Austin Reeves for Jaren Jackson Jr. regardless, right? So he's a player that you'd get the upside with Austin Reeves, but you don't have to give up Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, plus, Dalton Connect and this and that and the right. It's not a guy that is a max guy right now that you're going to have to shovel out, $50 million to match, right? Like, so, it puts the, like, for example, let's just use Giannis as an example, right? Lakers have to trade like half the roster to go get Giannis. For the Lakers, really all they have to trade is Austin Reeves. I mean, yeah, you potentially have to give up another, role guy, but like none of those role guys are that impactful to where it matters. And maybe you could get another guy or two from, a Memphis, right? Maybe you could pull something out where you get, somebody else. And look, if Brandon Clark stay healthy for them, I mean, they have a couple pieces to where they might just go, okay, like let's get off of Jaren Jackson Jr., right? And again, the age makes sense. It'd be a great foundation piece. He's not going to make, 60, 70 million a year. He's not going to qualify for the Supermax like he would have. So he's going to be on a pricey contract, but not be the astronomical, insane, all NBA type of contracts that, some of these other players are going to get that the Lakers would be looking to get, right? And he's cheap enough to where you can go get him, build out the roster, build a real contender, and then, once he gets paid and get his new contract, you're not so far in the luxury tax. You might even be able to stay under the second apron. So he makes a lot of sense because of that, right? And so I think if you can get him, I think you go get him. I mean, again, he's not like, the thing is, he's not a guy that's like, 7'3", 260 pounds, right? But he's not like tiny. He's a guy that's 6'10", 240, right? So he's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can do multiple things, but he can play either. He's got the versatility to where you can say you go and get a Clint Capella, right? Let's say you bring Clint Capella in as a backup, right? Well, you can slot at times Capella and Jaren Jackson Jr., right? Jaren Jackson, he can be that lob threat. He's athletic enough. He can defend in space. He can defend and protect the rim. I mean, you talk about a defensive player of the year type guy. You're talking about a guy that is very versatile on the offense side of things, on the defense side of things, right? Like, this is a guy that can do a little bit of everything. I think he's a guy that if you can go get, I think you take a flyer on. But let's look, right? Another thing, too, that is worth noting, he is a guy that plays, right? Played 78 games, 63 games, which isn't great, but 66 games and 74 games. It's fine, right? As long as you're giving us 60, as long as you're like the criteria, which is 65 games, as long as you're giving us 65 to 70 games a season, I'm fine with that, right? Like, I don't expect every player to play 82 games. That's not the era that we're in anymore, where everyone's playing 82 games, right? So he's a guy that, as long as he's giving us, like this past season, 74 games, perfect. But 74 games played, 74 games started, averaged just a hair under 30 minutes per game, 16.4 field goal attempts per game, shot 48.8% from the floor, shot 37.5% from three-point range on 5.3 attempts. He is a career 35% three-point shooter, so he spreads the floor, which is good for LeBron. He can be that lob threat, which is good for Luka, right? 2-point range, 51.1% on 11.1 attempts per game. EFG of 54.8%. He shot 78.1% from the free throw line. He is a career 80% free throw shooter, so just a hair under his average. Right, rebound, 5.6 rebounds per game, 2 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks, and 2.2 points per game. So again, talking about all defensive type player, all defensive type guy, that would be very valuable and could be the anchor of our defense. Him and LeBron James as our defensive anchor. Is he this just high flyer, hammer it home every possession he gets type center? No. But he's good enough to where you can get away with that, right? He's athletic enough to where he can still be a lob threat. He's versatile enough to where he can still stretch the floor. So when he's playing alongside LeBron, he's not clogging the paint, right? So when LeBron wants to put his head down and have those kick out guys, right? He is athletic enough to where Luka can throw it up to him and he can hammer it home. Gives you that versatility, right? This is a guy that I think would be very valuable for the Lakers. This is a guy that I do think you really would consider looking into, right? He would immediately go to being and look, he was arguably Memphis's best player all season long, including when Ja Morant was on the court, right? Like, as far as consistency-wise, he was really good this year for Memphis. And so the thing is, though, he would have to force his way to Lakers. Like, he'd have to. He'd have to basically pull an Anthony Davis. He'd have to say, hey, look, you guys can trade for me, but I'm leaving in the offseason. I'm going to go sign with the Lakers. And guess what LeBron could do? Lakers could free up the cap space, and LeBron look, Lakers would have like 70 million falling off their books. More than that. I think it's like closer to like 100 million falling off their books next, not this offseason, but the following offseason. Right? If they know for a fact Jaren Jackson Jr. is coming, they probably, whether we'd like it or not, they probably would just kind of ride it out or make moves to where you get expirings, right? Knowing that, like, hey, we could pair Jaren Jackson Jr. with Luka for the next 10 years, right? Like, we should probably do that. So that's something to kind of keep in mind also. So now, look, I think teams would probably stay away at that point. If Jaren Jackson was like, hey, I only want to go to the Lakers and basically pulled an Anthony Davis, right? Because it would make all the sense in the world, right? He gets to go to the Lakers. He'd have Luka as his running mate for the next 10 years. He'd get to play alongside LeBron and Luka. He'd go from being the number 2 guy and on many nights the number 1 guy to the number 3 guy, but he'd still probably get the same amount of field goal attempts. It wasn't like he was taking 20 to 30 attempts per game. If anything, he might average more points because he's probably going to get the same amount of attempts, but he's going to get better looks. Right? I mean, just think of how much offense he's going to be able to get just by Luka setting him up. Or, even the 3-point attempts that he's going to get with Luka and LeBron setting him up. Right? He probably averages bare minimum as much as he's averaging, if not more. So he's probably a 22, maybe 25 point a game guy. When LeBron leaves, I think he definitely is like a 25 point a game guy. So I think you're talking about a guy that can be versatile. Like I said, gives you the flexibility to slot in at the 4, slot in at the 5. I think if you have the chance to get Jaren Jackson Jr., I think you go get Jaren Jackson Jr. I think that's a no-brainer to me. Those are my thoughts and opinions. And as always, I pass the question on you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. What do you think? Feel what your thoughts? Agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mix in the middle. However you feel. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So if you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.